Welcome to Beyond the Press Release on location version with Bernard Tourillon, CEO, HPQ Silicon, trades in Canada under HPQ for friends of this under HPQFF. He's on location in Quebec, and we can't tell you anything more because the whole world wants to know where he is right now and try and steal his technology. Guys, usually I'd go into the big introduction. We don't need to do the introduction. The only thing we need to do is the press release headline, which is Pure VAP QRR Commission completed. HPQ Pure VAP Quartz Reduction Reactor pilot plant ready to start. You're on location, my man. How are you? How big of a day is this?
Oh, it's a great day, but it's a day I knew it would come. I never had any doubt about it. Okay, I'll give you guys a little bit of a hint. The last thing we were working, okay, if we screwed that up, okay, it was a 4-month delay. So we didn't screw it up. It's all done. That's why I'm feeling very, very good. Yay!
Big, I mean, and like you knew it was going to happen. I had no doubt. There was some doubt with some shareholders, and some people just thought today wasn't going to happen. It was just a pipe dream. What does it mean, man, to close this chapter and open the next door for HPQ?
Well, I've actually now changed the definition of imminent. That's one thing in the timeline. And the other thing is, this is a big deal for me because I'm now coming, I have a system now I can start to show people, okay? Instead of a show and tell, it's like, when you do the type of job I do, okay, there's a part of it where you sell a dream, a business plan, a concept. Right. That's not that what we're selling anymore. We're selling now, we've gone from the starting the process, which is actually was done right here in the plant, to the pilot plant, which is going to give us all the data we need. We can, when I actually now start to talk to analysts, financial officers, brokerage firms out of the US, Europe, and everywhere, and say, okay, guys, you'll be able to come and visit and see it working. Okay, it's not just my dream anymore. It was there, the dream of the guys at Pyro, technical guys at Pyro. It's actually now coming to fruition. When
something like this comes to life, when I do interviews, the famous line I like to use is seeing is believing. You're now functional. We're looking at something. None of us have ever seen this before. I don't think there's a human being in the world outside of that plant who is seen. So what are we looking at? And put into perspective what's going on over there.
Okay, first of all, you're not seeing the plant, okay, because we don't want to see it. We don't want to give away any of our big secrets. So what you are actually seeing is what I can show you, which is the power supply, okay?
That's just the power supply.
That's just the power supply, okay? I'm 6'4".
Move to your left just a little bit, Bernard, because you're off screen.
This was the size of the power supply, okay? For our Gen 1 and Gen 2 system, okay? This, all the way through here, okay? George, I'm 6'4".
How high is that ceiling?
Ceiling is about 40 foot, but it doesn't go all the way to the ceiling here.
So that power supply, just to give everyone an idea, is you're talking about the actual power supply by a factor of 25, 50 times bigger?
Our scaling up, okay, from our first machine, okay, that was about 250 times scaling up. So it's our biggest scaling up. It's our biggest challenge, okay, is the size of that scale up. But we're not concerned about this because this has been thought through, simulation has been done, all the process, every individual part of the process has been checked, okay? So we feel very confident we're going to be doing it. And once this works on a regular basis for a long time, we will get all the raw data we need to be able to make serious financial projections. I got laughed at 5 years ago. Well, yeah, because we've been doing it for so long. When I said, at the stage where we are right now, our costing are plus or minus 50%. Well, I wasn't wrong. Now they're not the minus, everything is plus. You know, we showed at the previous press release about the cost of rebuilding this machine has now gone up tremendously.
Now, you also, by the way, where is the QRR? So I know where it is right now. Explain to people where it is,
okay,
and how much bigger it even is than the power, because if that's the power supply, I can't imagine how big the QRR itself is.
Well, the QRR, the Gen 3, okay, is beyond this wall. I don't know if you see it, but there's a concrete wall there.
Yep.
Okay. Beyond that wall, so the power goes directly into the system, and it's about, I would say, it's about the same width of this, but it goes all the way to the ceiling, which is about 40 foot. Actually, I think the other ceiling is a bit higher.
And why is it behind the wall?
Just the way the setup has been, you know, you separate the power supply from the system. I actually don't know. That was PyroGenesis decision, but anyway, the wall has always been there. So there wasn't any room in the other room to put the power supply, so it was put here. But you know, those are my guesstimation.
You had mentioned something about temperatures when we're off camera.
It's already getting hot where the system is not really working yet.
But when the system's working, tell us about the peak temperatures that you expect to be hitting.
Well, the outside wall, okay, are supposed to not exceed 200 degrees centigrade.
Say it again.
The outside wall are not supposed to exceed 200 degrees centigrade. The inside is going to be over 1,000 degrees.
Man, don't get too close to that when it's cooking.
Oh yeah, it's like an instant sauna.
And by the way, it's that sensitive, right? Like, I mean, the amazing part is this is almost like we're filming something with the military and something highly secretive that you can't even show anybody, because that's how sensitive. I know we're having a lot of fun here, but that's how sensitive you guys are to your technology.
Well, we're getting close now with the system functional, and we're gonna go from functional to operational. Okay, it's gonna be a game-changing moment once we start producing silicon, okay, with our system, because we will be the only system in the world that starts with lower purity feedstock to finish with higher purity raw product. Okay, all the other one work in reverse. It's going to be a paradigm shift in how smeltering is being done. Okay, we're doing it now for silicone, but who knows where that's going to be? It's going to be a paradigm shift for that. So if that's why it's so exciting, it's so rewarding to be here. Okay, it started as a dream. We sold it. It was, you know, people. I don't think people realize how difficult it is for small companies like HPQ was at the beginning, as we go into, to get where we are here. Okay, having an operational pilot plant ready to go to validate the commercial scale, because this is not like most other mine projects that are a bit tech. Okay, usually when mining companies go into developing higher value products, okay, they go see manufacturers of other technologies, and they reinstall those systems and try to see if it works for their material. That's not what we've done. Okay, we started from scratch, and we came up with a completely, when we came up, the reality is PyroGenesis guys came up with a completely new way of doing things, completely way of rethinking it. Okay, it's a smelter that is working under vacuum, so we can remove impurity. That is game changer to be it. So I understand why we don't want to show any pictures of that technology, because
why take a chance on anything?
There's going to be a lot of people. You know, there's going to be a lot of people trying to figure out what it is, and maybe they'll yeah. So let's not give them any ideas. We file patents and we're protecting on it, but what we also do to protect what we're doing is have a lot of trade secrets. We be very cautious about our things, our recipes, and everything that we do. You know,
Let me ask you a question. I love always reading quotes, but this time the quote really hits home, because anybody at home who had any doubts, this is part of your quote. With the Gen 3 functional, HPQ is ready to disrupt silicon manufacturing industry that still relies on a traditional process developed in 1899 to make silicon. What does this do now for partnerships or any potential customers or any parties you've been talking to when you start showing them, you know, pictures and videos and things like this of the pilot plant now being ready? How does that advance, you know, all the discussions you've been having?
I think now what happens is that the risk that we represent, okay, for the industry has now moved one step closer to reality. So now they're going to start looking at much more what we're doing. Okay. I think when people are going to start to shit in their pants George, the moment we replicate at large scale what we believe we can do, which is doing 4N material, okay? And from that moment on, we will have stopped talking about revolutionizing the industry and doing it. And this is getting very, very close. One of my pastimes is reading the insanity that are said on the blog. People look at 12 months. Yes, it's a 12-month because there's a lot of work we've got to do within this. But there will be, within that 12-month period, a series of events. Okay? George, since 2018, when we really stopped doing tests on the Gen 2, I haven't really had any new material other than we're building the plant. All right. Now the plant is built, but it's not the end of the story. It's just the beginning of the beginning.
Yeah, this is a new chapter. This
is a completely new book. This is the prequel. We just lived through the prequel. We're entering the real book.
All right. I'll take that. And by the way, while I'm queuing up the next question, I want to take a couple of steps closer so that maybe your Bluetooth connects better to your phone so we can hear you better. Great. So I know you're not a fan of giving timelines, so I don't expect that to change. I don't expect that to change today.
It's not that I'm not a fan, okay? It is that as an R&D company, okay, timelines are a very big question mark. So timeline are our best guesstimation of when things are going to happen, all right? Listen, Peter gave a timeline of 4 weeks. I gave a timeline of weeks, okay? It was my timeline that won. But with the flip of the, and I understand how we got there, why it got there. But I also understood that something happened during that timeline. We could have been screwed up for 4 months.
Yeah, thank God that didn't happen.
That's exactly it, because I wouldn't want to be here during this interview and explaining that.
So based on that, though, ballpark without specifics, and all your shareholders love you, and they take you your word 100% because here we are, nobody can doubt it now. But ballpark, can you give us an indication of what the cadence looks like? What's next? How long should that take?
Well, if you go look at the deck, okay, on the deck we presented this, okay. The first thing was to get the QRR functional. That's been reached. We'll have to fine tune, work on the machine. Eventually start producing 4N material, and then I'm going to be starting to work on that material with other basically parties to make it into materials that that we can use in different business applications. Because people have to realize that the QRR is one part of what HPQ is. We have our nano technology we're developing on parallel. We have our fused silica that we're also going to develop.
Right.
Okay. But the QRR, by its ability to going up to 4N in one step, is going to allow us to enter into the battery space without the nano reactors, because there are processes right now. There is a market right now. It's small, about between 3 to 5% of silicone material comes from anode. What everybody else is doing is trying to go to the next, and I'm talking about silicone anode companies when you talk about them, Soleil, Group 14, all those companies you hear about silicone material. So what they're doing is they're using very, very expensive feedstock to make nano materials that will work in batteries, okay? So they'll never be competitors to me because they can never match our costs. So what we're focusing on addition to the QRR is how to make the nano materials the battery wants very, very cheap. So I'll let the other ones start developing the market, start creating a market for it, and then people are going to have demand. But the silicone that's coming out of QRR, okay, as I wrote in the press release, the addressable market, depending which selling price you take, is anywhere between $10 billion to $38 billion. That's a massive market, where it's a market that needs new plants. Well, if you're an investor, are you going to buy a traditional smelter, or are you going to try to figure a way to partner up with HPQ to get the QRR, which can do higher material for less? Okay? So this is what is changing. Before, it was a nice plan. my competitors could say, it's never going to work. They don't have the expertise. It hasn't been
Sure,
done.
naturally.
Now
yeah.
it's done. It's built. Yeah. Now it's done. It's built. Within the coming period of time, whatever it is, X, Y, Z. Okay. We will start to produce 4N material, and then the equation is going to come in, because that's just what the QRR allows us to do. That's what's really exciting. That's, it's like I've always been a manufacturing buff. I like manufacturing part. I like that part of the business. And going from seeing, the Gen 1 and Gen 2, which are sort of the proof of concept and proof of commercial scalability system, to really seeing what a commercial plant, and to start to be able to start to envision what it's going to look when it's going to be commercial, which is going to be massive. You're going to go pretty exciting. So
you've always been really good at not tooting your own horn, keeping a level head. And again, I expect you to maintain that. Nobody thinks you're going to change, but for a minute, if you can, putting on your objective hat, how big of a development is this to your competitors in the outside world now that the plant is up and running, right? The pilot plant is up and running. It's functional. How big of a shockwave does this send? Like how many George Com silicons are out there now that are saying, oh boy, all this time I thought Bernard and all those guys were just some flakes in Quebec, and now they've made it happen. How big of a shock is this sending out to the industry?
Based on my experience how the industry is, okay, there will be some people that understand the challenges that are required, okay, that will say that. But the established player of the industry, the guys that have $1 billion already invested in their capex of their machine, will still be saying, he hasn't done it yet. The machine hasn't produced yet. Okay, they'll come up with all the excuses, all the bashers and the people like to say. They'll come up with those excuses because they don't want to deal with the reality that if it works, their life as they know it has changed. Think about it. At one point in time, telephone lines were the biggest thing, and Nortel was the biggest company for those types of things. And then something changed in that technology, and then they're no longer there. Okay?
Great analogy.
That's the level of what we're doing, and working with Pyro, because they have such an expertise with working with high temperature, complex projects. That's fantastic, and the great advantage is, as HPQ will start to build its own team, it will be able to learn from the expertise that Pyro has, because the machine's works for it. So I'm going to go plug for Pyro here. As this machine moves forward, becomes another very big business line for Pyro.
You've got 4 things that you want to validate and quantify. We're not going to go through them. Everyone sees them in the press release. But there are 4 very important things that you want to now quantify and validate that you identified during Gen 1 and Gen 2. What's your level of confidence that you'll be able to, achieve all 4 of those?
I would say I am, 99.99 success. 4N success.
4N confidence.
Between
okay.
between 4N to 6N. I'll tell you why. Because we've done the material with a small machine. Okay. And in this type of process, proof of concept machines are there to prove the concept. They're not there to prove the full thing. When we decided to go with a 50 ton per year pilot plant size, it's because a lot of the equations that were going to allow us to reach our target had reached their maximum level. There's, if you go back and read the many press releases we published, there's a concept about dilution of the impurities. Okay, the bigger our crucible is, okay, at one point the amount of impurity stays the same, but it's like you put sugar in your tea. Okay, well, if you only have this of tea in your sugar, it looks very big. But if you end up having lots more water and more tea, then you have less sugar per the entire mass. That's what we're talking about, is impurities into the material. So that's already one of the effects we're going to see. There's the other efficiencies we'll get into. I feel very confident we will prove them. Will we prove them the first time out? No, because I don't expect, that's not how doing what we're doing is, but we will prove it within the timeline we give ourselves. Well, we actually think it's going to be shorter than that, but the contract was for 12 months. You know,
All
so
right.
might as well put the 12-month contract. The original contract was something like 2 months for, you know, tweaking more of the machine and 10 months for doing the material. We shall see now, just 12 months for testing because we'll be producing material.
By the way, to give everyone some perspective, before we got on air, you showed me an example of how big the Gen 2 machine was. Is that still there? Do you want to show everybody?
I can't even show the Gen 2, it's right there. This is about, that's about the size of it. And that's probably with the table holding it.
Yeah, so that was the size of the Gen 2. And now the actual pilot plant behind that wall is as wide as the power source and up to the, pretty much up to the ceiling. I just want everyone to see that, to give everyone a perspective of what you accomplished under Gen 2 and, you know, the firepower, pardon the pun, that you're going to have with the pilot plant. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and once we're going to go for the first commercial scale machine, that is going to be wild. That is really going to be wild.
Bernard, last word to you, my man. This is a Friday afternoon in the summer. It's a great way to end off the week. To me, it's an incredibly happy occasion. And man, I got to tell you, I'm so super proud of you, the HPQ team, the Pyro team, because this is a Herculean effort to get here, laced with doubt and FUD from some people out there, which is usually the case. Now we're here. Last word to you, to your faithful and loyal shareholders who didn't stop believing in you.
A lot of people didn't think we would get it here. A lot of people didn't think we could get it, you know, we could get it financed, designed, built, named them. Everybody said, you know, I have even investors that says, oh, we could be, because it took longer. We didn't finish it by the end of this year. We finished it now. On the overall scheme of things, it doesn't change anything as long as we get to the destination. Okay? And the destination for us is to completely change the industry of making silicone, changing how silicone is made. And we are at the leading position of this. So.
Congratulations, my man. You've earned a beer or two tonight and this weekend. And we didn't get to see Peter this time, but make sure you extend, I think I speak on behalf of everybody when I say make sure you extend our congratulations and deep thanks to your entire team and the entire Pyro team, my friend, and can't wait to, and thanks for living up to your word. You said, George, the next interview we're doing will be from the floor, and you did it, and this is amazing. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
To everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, to Bernard Tourillon, CEO of HPQ Silicon Resources. And that name's not going to be around for much longer, I don't think. But for now,
no, actually, 30th of June, we're changing our name. Well, if shareholders approve, the name will become HPQ Silicon Inc.
I'm pretty sure they're going to. By the way, we should turn the old logo into an NFT, but we'll talk about that for another time. So if you want more info on HPQ Silicon Resources, trades in Canada, HPQ, HPQFF for our friends in the US, get to the company's profile page in the Agoracom, because man, there are a lot of moving parts here. And if you're a newbie, you're going to want to go over that to really understand what the company is doing. But for the rest of you, man, you guys are smarter than me, that's for sure. And sometimes even smarter than this guy on the screen. I say that tongue in cheek. But thanks for joining us. Hope you guys love this interview. I know I did. And I hope you get your weekend off to a great start. Thanks for joining us. Have a safe, great weekend. See you next time. Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.